the truth where it takes us, and that is exactly what we're going to do. And I'll note, too, I know that people are, frustrated sometimes with the time that's being invested in this, but this is the way the founders anticipated that something like this would go. There shouldn't be any such thing as a snap impeachment, a sham impeachment like the Democrats did against President Trump. This is the opposite of that. And that's why people are getting restless, because they want things to happen quickly. If you follow the Constitution and you do the right thing, you cannot rush it.
Today, Republicans making a major move in that impeachment inquiry of the president. A live look now at Capitol Hill. The House Rules Committee is preparing for a vote today to formalize the inquiry. It will set the stage for a full House vote, which could happen as soon as tomorrow. This is a process. And on top of that, a new op-ed from Speaker Mike Johnson has gotten a lot of people's attention. The title, "Mounting Evidence Against Biden Can't Be Ignored. We're Pursuing Impeachment." Going on to say we owe it to the people to undertake this process methodically and transparently. Here is some of today's hearing so far.
There's been an impeachment inquiry from day one that has been going on here. And I think it's proven time and time again that the President of the United States did absolutely nothing wrong. But this is a very, very sad day for this committee and for this institution and for this country. This impeachment sham is, to put it bluntly, an extreme political stunt. It has no credibility, no legitimacy, and no integrity. It's a distraction to draw our attention away from House Republicans' do-nothing Congress that has failed to pass any meaningful laws to help the American people.
The fact of the matter is there's been an extraordinary amount of stonewalling. This is one example of dozens that we could get into. And this is why the inquiry matters. This is why we should proceed with the inquiry. There are other issues that we could get into and raise, but to dismiss it and to just put aside and say there's been all of these investigations and there's been no issues that have been raised is just completely contrary to what anybody with eyes reading news accounts of what has occurred and looking at the indictment that was presented last week would understand.
All right, just a snippet of what's going on Capitol Hill now. Joining me now, NewsNation political contributor Mick Mulvaney. He served as director of the Office of Management and Budget under former President Donald Trump. Welcome. So when Democrats tried to oust President Trump, Mike Johnson said it should be up to the voters. He said what Democrats were doing was short-sighted. He's now House Speaker, seems to be changing his tune. How's this different?
Yeah, are you telling me that politicians are telling you two different things, whether or not they're in power or not?
Yeah, I am, yes.
Exactly. How are the things different? I suppose they would make the argument. I think Speaker Mike Johnson made the argument today in his USA Today op-ed that the Republicans at least have more evidence than the Democrats did when they began their impeachment inquiry. And that's an important distinction. Marni, this is not an impeachment. This is not a bill of impeachment. It's not a vote to impeach the president. It's a vote to begin a formal investigation. This is what the Democrats did to President Trump based upon some whistleblower allegations regarding a conversation he had with President Zelensky of Ukraine. The Republicans believe they have at least that much evidence, if not more, based upon the review they have been doing. It remains to be seen if you go to the next step. The Democrats obviously did go to the next step and fully impeached President Trump in the House of Representatives, and it remains to be seen if the Republicans do that. I think Mike Johnson is probably walking the fine line he has to, which is to take it very seriously, talk about following the evidence and see what happens. The real tough vote is not going to be this one. The real tough vote is going to be 6 or 8 weeks from now as to whether or not they actually vote to impeach the president.
Right, but they do have to get through this hurdle, right, and check this box. Do they have the votes they need? It's a very thin margin, right? They can only lose 3?
Yeah, technically they don't even have to do this. And, of course, the second impeachment of President Trump showed that. The House voted straight. They did not do an inquiry after the January 6th riots. They went straight to impeachment, and any House of Representatives could do that. They're not doing that here. But your math is correct. Depending on who shows up, keep in mind, Kevin McCarthy has already announced he's leaving. There's a couple of other, of course, George Santos is already gone. So on a good day, I think they can afford to lose 2 or 3 votes. There's at least one Republican, Ken Buck, I believe from Colorado, who said he's not going to vote for the inquiry. So it does leave the narrowest of margins. If you read the USA Today op-ed, however, you sort of get the impression that Speaker Johnson has done his counting and has the votes. There's no way they would bring us to a vote on the floor and have it fail. That would be a huge embarrassment for him.
Thank you for watching. Go to NewsNationNow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.